Hello, citizens. Imagine this. The government takes your family's land to build a highway. You think, fine, it's for the country, and the law guarantees you extra compensation for the forced sale.
But then the highway authority hands you a check that is fundamentally short. No extra compensation, just the bare minimum.
Wait, why? My neighbor's land was taken for a hospital and they got paid nearly double.
Exactly. And when millions of Indians realized this, they sued. The government's defense, paying everyone equally, would cost the state 29,000 crore rupees. So what wins? Your constitutional rights or the government's wallet?
Okay, 29,000 crores is a staggering number. How did the NHAI even get into this mess?
It started with a sneaky legal amendment in 1997. They added Section 3J to the National Highways Act.
Which basically said what?
It essentially dictated that if we take your land specifically for a national highway, the normal Land Acquisition Act of 1894 does not apply to you. You get no solatium.
Solatium? Plain English, please.
It's an extra mandatory payment. It's the law's way of compensating you for the trauma of forced displacement. If your land was taken for a school, you got it, but for a highway, you got zero.
That is horribly unfair. It's the exact same land, just a different government project. No wonder people were furious.
They were. High courts across the country started striking it down. Eventually, the Supreme Court ruled Section 3J unconstitutional. But the government panicked, running back to court, claiming this was a clerical error and paying everyone would bankrupt public infrastructure.
Hold on, so you're telling me the state tried to use bad math as a legal defense? Sorry, we violated your rights, but fixing it is too expensive.
Precisely. They pleaded pure financial survival. But the landowner's lawyers brought out the heavy constitutional artillery.
I am guessing Article 14, the right to equality.
You got it. Coupled with Article 300A, the right to property. They argued you cannot treat highway landowners like second-class citizens compared to those under the 1894 Act.
It makes total sense. But 29,000 crores, practically speaking, can the state actually absorb that without halting all development?
That was the ultimate dilemma for Chief Justice Surya Kant. How do you uphold the constitution without bankrupting the country? And more importantly, what do you do about cases that were closed 20 years ago?
So what did the court decide? Did they let the government off the hook to save the money? Not a chance. The Supreme Court dropped the hammer. They ruled that the constitutional guarantee of just compensation cannot be held hostage by the state's financial burden.
Wow, that is huge. A massive win for the common man against the system.
It is. But there's a catch. Citing the principle of finality, the court knew they couldn't let citizens reopen cases that were fully settled decades ago.
Right. Otherwise, the courts would drown in an avalanche of zombie cases. So where did they draw the line?
They laid down a strict three-part test using a magic cutoff date, March 28, 2008. If your case was completely closed before this date, it's legally dead. You cannot reopen it.
And if your claim was still pending in court after that date?
Then you get your money. However, if you sat idle and delayed asking for it, the court will penalize your laches, your unreasonable delay, by withholding interest for those gap years.
That is actually a brilliant compromise. It penalizes the delay without completely destroying the citizens' underlying right to the compensation.
Exactly. For legal professionals, NHAI with Tarsim Singh beautifully cements the supremacy of Article 300A over fiscal excuses. The state cannot plead poverty to escape constitutional liabilities.
And for the general public listening, what is the immediate takeaway?
Check your exact case closure dates urgently. If your family's case ended before March 28, 2008, do not waste your money on lawyers trying to resurrect it.
But wait, what if the government has already paid them this extra money? Can the NHAI demand a refund to claw back their 29,000 crores?
Absolutely not. The court explicitly barred the government from demanding any refunds for solatium already paid out. Your money is completely safe.
Incredible. Constitutional rights do not come with a price tag. That's a precedent worth remembering.